It is Artbeads Fab Friday. And why is it Fab Friday? Well, first of all, because it is Friday, and that's always fabulous for most people. And because, we're here hanging out, all of us serious art beaters. We're talking about making jewelry. We're making jewelry. We're looking at beads. We're chit-chatting with our friends. So yeah, it's Fab Fridays. I'm Deb Floros, and this is Artbeads Fab Fridays. And I'm so excited to see everybody here today. I see Thaisa is in the background. Hello, Thaisa. Thank you for being here. Carolyn is here. Say hello if you're here, everyone. It's November 21st, which means we are just like staring down the barrel of Thanksgiving. It's next week. And another reason why it might be Fab Friday for you, you might be off work next week, which means you've got more time to create, more time to hang out with your friends and family. So I hope you've all had a wonderful week and that you are facing a wonderful week ahead of you. I see a lot of you are joining. Christine is here. Hello, Christine. Michelle from Georgia is here. Michelle, hi. Michelle is here as well in the background. Monique Daly, Bonnie Henderson, Susanna from Whittier, California. Tanya, Christy, Francie in KC, Kara from Colorado. Hi, Francie and Gail. Hi, Hazel. Laura Rang. Sandra says, more time to cook and do dishes. Yeah, that's always part of it, but it's kind of worth it. Lisa Devos is here. She says she's kind of new. Lisa, we're glad to have you. You are officially a serious art beater with us. Lisa in PA, Maria from El Paso, Lou is here, Jane is here, Winnie from Connecticut. Susanna says, more time to pack to move to Arkansas, or is that Arkansas? Susanna, packing is stressful, moving is stressful, so I hope that getting that extra time is good for you. Ellen in New Jersey, Tori from Reno, Cindy from Washington, Lisa from Maryland. She's new too. Hi, Lisa, welcome. Rosie Portillo, hi, everyone. So as I said, it is November 21st, you guys, and I need to fill you in on all the things. So first of all, we have been doing a pre-Black Friday sale. Hi, everybody. Thanks for the hearts. And that pre-Black Friday sale right now is up to 50% off of Prestige crystals. If you're not familiar with Prestige, oh my goodness, amazing quality crystals, amazing quality components, amazing glass, pearls, flat backs. Oh my gosh, all the sparkle, all the shine. So I'm hopeful that all of you will check that out. You can go to the banner on the website, click on that, and it will give you all of it. So it'll give you all the sale items. You can shop by size and type and shape and all of those things. I love the way that Artbeads orients their sales. It makes it so easy to find what you might be looking for and maybe what you weren't looking for. Also, the deal of the week is super cool. It is 50% off of the Bead Llama blends. You guys may remember these. We here at artbeads.com love these blends. We the design team put a lot of these together ourselves, blended up some amazing, mostly vintage check glass beads. They are amazing to work with. They're so much fun. I agree, Laura. They are adorable. So those are 50% off right now. And don't forget, if you make a purchase of $49 or more and you live in the US, you get free shipping. And who doesn't love free shipping? I love free shipping. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the hearts. Let's get started on all the things. But one quick reminder, if you're watching at artbeads.com/live, that's the best place to watch the show live. because I can see your comments, and you can see each other's comments, and you can chit chat and have a conversation. And you can also shop the show. You can shop the show live, and you can also shop the show on replay. So if you come back to artbeads.com at any point in time, you can watch the shows on replay. And if the items are still available in the shopping cart, you can pick them up and put them in the shopping bag. If they're in the shopping bag, you can put them in your shopping cart. So you can do that all while you watch. So you don't have to leave the show. I don't go away. You can still hear me and see me. So, yeah. So do that and let's have some fun. Gina L says she loves the Christmas wrap blend. So glad she got 2, but wish she got 3. Well, maybe there's still some available, Gina. I don't know, but you could check that out. Okay, you guys, I'm going to flip down. And if you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, you guys, I can't see your comments live, but you can stay put and you can come on over, or you can come on over. Either way, we appreciate that you're there to watch. So I promised that I was going to catch you guys up on all of my makes for the vintage check glass bead strand assortments. I got a little backed up. So the Mermaid Secret, which I've still got some beads available, I put together this amazing fun necklace, and I absolutely love this. Now, I was also going to bring Midnight Galaxy to the table, and I was going to put them together. But as soon as I got this one out, I just started to see this really cool kind of waterfall necklace. We've done a waterfall necklace before here on the show, but I loved creating this, and I added some chain. So this is some amazing diamond cut sterling silver long Rolo chain sold by the foot. That's also in the show today. And that's how I attached my minty green leaves. So this feels wintry to me because the leaves are a mint green and the white beads are kind of a winter white. So those table cut beads are super, super cool. And the minty green leaves just look so, so beautiful. Hi, Kim Caldwell. Thanks, Laura. So I had fun making this one. I haven't worn this yet. I can't wait to wear this. But when I opened up the package again, I just said, I'm going to use 2 beads and I'm going to make this fun necklace. And I still have lots of beads left. Gina, yes, frosted for winter, but I see spring too. Absolutely. So it's whatever you want to see and whatever you want to put together and for what purpose. It's fun. So that's what I made there. So that bead strand assortment is still available. It's in the show today. And then the Midnight Galaxy. So this one is all mixed up. But what I did with this one was I put together a really beautiful memory wire bracelet. Simple to do, but I used almost all of the beads. The one bead that I didn't bring in was the stars. So I did not use the stars, but I used every other bead. So the pinch beads, the rondelles, the little purple metallics, and these tri-cuts. So this is just a really cool piece. I did add some little dangles to each end. Really, really simple to make. And my favorite spacers, the Toho demi-round size 11, were perfect for these beads. We're going to work with these today. So I love this bracelet. Super fun. And I love memory wire too. Who was that said that? Zandra. I am loving memory wire too. I just think, what a simple to make piece, but it's beautiful. And it's an instant triple strand bracelet. So, thank you, Lisa. So if you want to get the Midnight Galaxy, and I still have beads left, This is in the shopping bag as well. You can drop that in your shopping cart and you can make some fun bracelets and all kinds of other things. Thank you, Lisa. Hi, Santa Barbara girl. So those bead strand assortments are all caught up. I don't have a new one to share with you. We are in a little reprieve from new ones, so stay tuned. We'll probably have some new ones coming soon. And what I like to do for these shows, before we make something, is I like to show you what I've made to prepare for the show. Now, I think you guys may possibly be tired of this design, but today we're talking about red and green designs for the holidays. And I know red and green isn't necessarily popular and everyone's favorite, but we are barreling down towards the holidays, so I want to make sure that you guys get in on all the red and green beads, all the, possibilities of making red and green jewelry, because we're running out of runway. So if you want to get some of these fun beads, you need to drop those in to your cart and get them on their way to you. So I want to get them in front of you as quickly as I can. So this design is something I've been obsessed with. So creating a double-stranded bracelet with connectors. So here's a beautiful red and green piece, all reds and greens. Thank you, Santa Barbara girl. And these check glass beads have like a black wash on them. So they're a red and black kind of Art Deco, double-sided, mind you, check glass bead. They're flat on either side, but a nice rounded oval shape. Super cool, and these are really, really stunning. You get 15 pieces in your package. So if you want red with a little black vibe, that's the main connector bead. And I used a 22 gauge wire to make those connections with that bead. Now, the large green beads are fire polish. And I love a good big fire polish. These are an 8mm fire polish. And they're called green tourmaline. So they're like the green that you would find in tourmaline gemstones, but they are glass and they are spectacular. And because they are fire polished, they have amazing facets and amazing sparkle and shine. Hi, Monica. So these were the green beads I chose for the kind of the next largest bead. And then if you have never experienced these before, I put these in this piece as well. These are teacups. They're made by Starman, and they are these little red cups that you see in this piece. Now, this is an opaque red, so perfect red for the holidays. And this is what they look like. They're a little tiny cup. I think, let me see the measurement. They're a 2x4mm, and they have a hole down the center of them. So they're like a little bead cap, and they are just so fun. I agree, Thaisa. They are some of my favorites, and I love them for all kinds of design work. So stringing, needle and thread projects, just about anything. And I love this opaque color. So the large beads here are opaque, and these are as well, but they're a slightly brighter red than the red in the focal. So, you get a little variation in the reds. And then I used seed beads, and I used these Toho Treasures, and they are in transparent silver-lined grass green. And so you've got a couple variations of green, a couple variations of red, and it's just a really cool, yes, Michelle. I love that song. I love that show. I can't wait for it to be on this year. So this is the first piece that I put together for you, and I'm just like obsessed with this kind of design right now. I've been making these like crazy, both in a strung version, which this one is a stringing project, And then I also like to do this same kind of vibe in memory wire. So I thought I'd share that one, and the beads are all great for any of your holiday designs you might be putting together. Then I kind of went down a 2-hole bead path, but the small 2-hole beads. And I wanted to share this one because it's interesting. So in this design, I've got 2 different Matubo beads. So they are 2-hole beads, and there are 2 different shapes here. One is this ginkgo bead. Now, if you've never seen a ginkgo bead, they're kind of shaped like a ginkgo leaf. That's why they're called a ginkgo bead. And I picked these out because they look like peppermint. So this is an ionic finish, and it's so cool. I've worked with these at Halloween time in like a green and white, and they're so cool, but this just looks like peppermint. So I thought that would be a really fun holiday design. We're bringing in the red. So I used those, and then I also brought in a shape that I've not worked with before, but these are called nib bits. And I felt hungry when I read that. I don't know. It's like, it reminds me of a snack of some sort. But this is the shape. They're I kind of think they look like a candy corn. They are 2-hole, and they're really, really fun. And this color is, what is the color? Metallic green. So this is an interesting take on green, and they're an interesting shape. So when you bring them into a design, you can do all kinds of fun things with them. Now, what I did, and I just lost one on the floor. I've had another week of beads on the floor. So I took them and I did a couple things here. So this is a beading wire piece, which you can most certainly use these smaller 2-hole beads on stringing wire. But I started with putting the ginkgos going in different directions. And then I used the nib bits going in different directions. And it kind of gives the bracelet a little bit of a zigzaggy vibe. Now the holes do line up really nicely, but there's just something about making the shapes, go in opposite directions that makes it really interesting. So I used some seed beads that I believe were out of stock. Unfortunately, I probably should have checked those before I actually used them, but they are a Toho 15-0 in an opaque luster white. So they're super, super shiny. And I just thought this was an interesting take on red and green, because we've just got a little bit of red, like a little bit of peppermint stick, and that really cool metallic green. So another idea for you, another something to think about for holiday designs. And if you haven't worked with the nib bits or the ginkgos before, they're really fun. Danielle calls them nibbits. I think that's an easier way to say it. But that's a cool project. Then I pulled out the nib bits for an earring design. And here I focused on red, but I brought in some clear glass, some AB crystal, and some bronze, which I thought looked really interesting with this red. So what do I have here? I've got more nib bits. So these are earrings. And let me grab all of my pieces and parts here. So the nib bits here are crystal AB. And but I don't think I gave you the dimensions. They're 6 by 5 millimeters. So this is crystal AB, fun little earring. And I used some of my favorite beads, bugles. So I've got some Toho bugles that are 3 millimeter. And they're this beautiful shade of red, silver lined Siam ruby. Really, really beautiful. Then I pulled in some demi rounds, also one of my favorite beads. And these are 11O demi rounds in higher metallic cinnamon bronze, which, kind of make me feel a little bit hungry too. So that's what I did here. I did use some Fireline, some 10-pound Fireline, and I just created some little loops at both ends. And for this design, I just kind of strung sewed on all of the pieces, all of the nib bits in opposite directions. So it does give that a little, kind of a swirly, swoopy kind of shape, which I thought was fun and interesting. You could go shorter for these. You could go longer for these. You could make this pattern into a bracelet. So if you want to take a screenshot to try this kind of thing if you want to try this thing out after the show, this is something fun you can try out. So, here's one more color of the nib bits that might be fun for that earring. This is a matte Apollo umber. So this looks really beautiful with this. And if you want to bring those red bugles into the mix, they look pretty together with the brown tones as well. So that's just another option. I absolutely fell in love with the nib bits or the nibbits. They're super fun and really easy to work with, and they're all easy projects, you guys. That's kind of what I always like to do, is bring you some easier projects. And before I get to a project, I want to show you just a couple of other things that you might find interesting for your red and green show today. This is another one of the Bead Llama bead mixes. So this is 50% off today, and I wanted to show you this because we're doing red and green, but we're also bringing some other things into, the red and green. There are some incredible red beads in here. I believe that Becky Dahl was the designer of this bead mix. It's absolutely phenomenal. And these beads are super fun to work with. They have a top drill, so these make nice dangles. And then you've got some black beads that have red in them. And you've got some other interesting shapes. You've got black leaves. You've got these big, exaggerated, sort of squared off teardrops. You've got some seed beads. You've got these guys. And there's some silver drucks in here as well. This is 50% off. Grab this while you still can, because this is the last of it. Like, this is all that's left of this bead mix. So, and there's a flower in here too. I forgot to show you that. So this is an incredible bead mix, 50% off. It is one of the, the designer mixed bead mixes, and most of these beads are vintage. So this is exclusive, and when it goes away, because it's limited stock, it's going to be gone forever. So I love this one. I think this one is really cool. I was there when Becky put this one together, and I could see her wheels turning. I could see this one coming to life. So this one is super cool. So if you want to grab some reds and some other things, this is a gorgeous one. Really cool. So that's that one. And then in the shopping bag, there are also some very cool Christmas charms. And when we're talking about red and green, you may want to throw in a little bit of metallic and get some beautiful Christmas charms. So these are by Tierra Cast. And this is an antique silver-plated pewter wreath charm. And these are double-sided. These are nice and weighty. They feel really good, nice quality, American-made. This is from the Tierra Cast of old, not the current Tierra Cast, but they are really, really beautiful. So those are some Christmas options. I have a pair of earrings on with this charm. So this to me looks like a peace bird. So, you know, a dove. And this is a B&B Ben Bassett silver plated brass bird outline charm. And I think right now at the holidays and just in general, we could all use a little bit of peace. So this beautiful little charm would look great with green or red or blue, whatever color you have. So you could pop a bead on to the top of that, put it on an ear wire, and you have a beautiful earring, gorgeous. And then if you want a little something whimsical, these are in the clearance section, which I can't believe. And they are little Santa Claus charms. They have a silver back to them. And these, the description of these is silver plated. So they're a silver plated enameled charm. Super cute Santa. So if you want a little something cute, these are great. Thank you for the hearts, you guys. So there's those guys. And then last but not least, these are actually connectors. And I love these. These are snowflake connectors. And OMG, I love a good connector. So they have a hole at the top, hole at the bottom. You could slip the top right onto an ear wire and then attach a bead. So whatever you've got, if you want to work with green, you want to work with red, you've got, and you could do a whole dangle of some. So, you know, blue would look beautiful with these. A crystal bead would look beautiful with these. So these are perfect for earrings for sure. So those are in the shopping bag. I've also got some nice neutrals for your reds and greens. This is one of my favorite beads, always has been. When I used to sell a lot more jewelry, I used to make bracelets with these, and I would sell every single one of them where these beads were used. This is a check glass 5mm silver melon, and this is a bead strand by Starman. It's a pretty long strand, and so you've got plenty of beads to work with to mix in with your greens and your reds, like perfect silver, and such a nice texture for these beads as well. So that's in the shopping bag. And then if you want a little darker tone, because we had the bronzy tones in our earrings, you could grab one of these. So this is a 3mm metallic suede gold fire polish bead. So this is like a darker metallic that would look beautiful with greens and reds. So you get a totally different look. And of course, these are fire polish and they're a smaller size. So this would be really, really interesting. Santa Barbara girl says, how about a shower of clear crystals as a, and I don't know what you were saying there, Santa Barbara girl, but clear crystals would look beautiful with anything that we've got here today. So that's another option. And then I've got tons of other reds and greens in the show. So if you're in that shopping bag, you're going to see lots of other fun things that I put in that are different shades and sizes and shapes of red and green. So I'm going to pull over this fun project we're going to do. So I thought it would be fun, and I started this because I wanted to make sure it was going to look the way that I hoped it would. So this is what I would call like a holly berry design. And I couldn't resist pulling some of these green cushion rounds. Now, you guys, I know you love these. I love these. These beads were so incredibly popular, and we have them in so many different colors, but I didn't have them in this beautiful green. And look at that shine. It's picking up the ring light like crazy, but they are just stunning, perfect for the red and green vibe. Now, this is also a bead I have used multiple times now in several designs. I think there's one on the Artbeads, in the Artbeads design studio as well. This is a red bead. Oh, let me tell you about those. I actually don't have the color of the green cushion rounds, but I know that we have the graphic for those. These red beads are check glass 6mm gold marbled opaque red rounds. So I don't know if the light is going to really show you this, but they're a beautiful red with kind of like a gold marbling in them, which makes them so cool for combining with other gold things. So I had to use these again, and I thought, the cool, marbled look and the, shiny cushion round looked really cool together. So we're going to make this fun little bracelet, or we're going to finish it. And what I've also got is, again, one of my most favorite spacers are these demi rounds. And these are an 11-0 demi round. And this color is the Permafinish Galvanized Starlight. It is a bright, shiny gold. And it's just going to add that little bit of metallic coolness that will just pull this whole design together. So I'm sure there's lots of ways that little, holly berries can be made. And, I didn't want this to be overtly holly berry, but it's all in what you see and how you want to do it. And you could certainly do this a little bit differently than me if you'd like. But this is to give you some inspiration and ideas. I've got some 19 strand beading wire in gold. And I'm going to take my my little stopper off the package. And all I'm doing here is creating a really easy pattern. And it's just simple to follow. You can certainly do, modifications here to make it your own. But I'm going to use 2 of the demi rounds after my my cushion round here. So I put a cushion round on and then a pattern of the seed beads and the red beads. And oh, by the way, I've got these head pins, and these are a ball end head pin. They're in, I think, an antique brass. I don't see my package for these handy, but these are also available and what I used to do some wire wrapping here. So I'll walk you through putting it together from here. So I've got, a couple sections done. So here I've got 2 of the demi rounds, and then I'm going to put on one of the beads, one of the 6mm red beads. And then I'm going to grab another one of the demi rounds, just one. And then we're going to wire wrap a couple of these guys. And if I can find my round nose pliers, these are also in the show today. These are a nice economical ergonomic tool, and I love this tool. So I'm just going to wrap this because we're going to string this on to our wire. So just getting a few wraps around. And then I'm going to come around with my cutters and snip off my excess wire. And then I need to tuck in that little piece of wire there. Just give it a little tuck. And then I just take my loop and straighten that out. And I've got one demi round on. I'm going to put that bead on. I want the demi rounds to be intermixed in here. So I'm going to put another demi round on to that piece. I'll show you up close. So it's going to look like that. And then I'm going to wire wrap my next berry. And with this, I don't know if you can see, this bead has a lot of the gold in it. These beads are so cool. I really love these beads. Hi, Chloe. My cat, one of my cats just came in here. She never comes in here. She must be looking for a snack. So here's my next one, and I'm just going to do a couple of wraps around and then snip off my excess, come in with my flat nose, chain nose pliers, my bent chain nose, and put my other piece on. And then I'm going to add one more demi round and then another red bead. And then we've got a quad of these red beads. So let me hold that up so you can see what that looks like. So you could certainly do this differently if you would like, and you can certainly use regular seed beads here. You could do an 11-0 or a 15-0, and you could use one seed bead or two seed beads, however you would like. But I really like, I've been talking up the demi rounds because I really do think they add some interest, they add some texture, and they add that little splash of metallic. So I've got my little quad of beads there, and those beads are going to move around. The ones on the head pin are going to move around. So if that bothers you, maybe you just do red beads in strung on, and you don't do any wire wrapped beads. So I've got two more demi rounds there, and then my next cushion round is going to go on. Now I also have red cushion rounds in the show as well. So if you wanted just to do all reds, you could do this metallic red with the green, or you could switch it up, green, red, green, red. That's another option as well. And this, I don't have the color on my package, but it's a saturated red tone of some sort. And again, the cushion rounds are a 14 millimeter bead, and they are so much fun. We've had such great designs by you serious art beaters in the Serious Art Beaters Facebook group. You guys have just burned up the internet with your designs with those cushion rounds. Now, also, if you want to, you could do all of your wire wrapping in advance. Totally up to you how you like to do your designing, how you like to put things together. I wanted to start this piece earlier because I wasn't sure if this was going to look right. So I did get it started, and so I didn't do all of my wrapping in advance. But I thought we would do some wrapping together. We could wrap these like a gift. So there's my bead wire wrapped on, surrounded by two demi rounds. Then grab another one. And you could also use a flat end head pin too if you don't like the ball end. I thought the ball end added just a little bit more festiveness to this piece. I kind of prefer a ball end head pin. I don't know. There's just something about that little metallic extra on your beads that just are on your head pins. It just makes everything look more decorated. So I like that. I think it's pretty. All right, so we're going to snip off our excess and then come in with our chain nose and then flatten out our loop there. And then we're gonna drop on another one of our demi rounds and then another one of our red beads. Oh, I love how this looks. It's so pretty. The color is so vibrant. The pops of gold in there are just so much fun. Santa Barbara Girl says, love red and green and gold, but also blue, white, and silver. Me too. I think blue and white and silver this time of year is also pretty spectacular because it just makes you think of, the winter and the snow and the ice and all of that. So I'm just going to do a quick measurement here to see how I'm doing size-wise. And I think I have an idea of how I'm going to get this the right size. So I wear about a 6 1/4 inch bracelet. And once I get the seed beads on this side of these two, it's going to be probably a little bit too short. But then again, if I put on 2 sets of these, it will be too long. So I have an idea for how I'll finish the ends so that it will probably be just right. So I am going to take these demi rounds, 2 of them, because we've used 2 around each one of our cushion rounds. And I think what I'm going to do is just take 1 of the red beads and put it at the end there. I'm going to pull a little bit out of wire out from the end there. I'm going to take my bead stopper and then I'm going to cut the wire from the other end of so I've been working from the spool. So let me put that there. And I've got some little wire bits here. Let me get rid of that. And I need 2 demi rounds on this end. So we're going to put 2 of those on. And if you don't know about demi rounds, let me just show you up close. So a demi round looks like a little donut. It is about half the size of a seed bead. So it's just a tiny little flat, like a little flat seed bead, like somebody stepped on the seed bead and squashed it. So it's about half the size, half the width, or height, depending on how you're looking at it. And it just, to me, creates a really interesting little spacer. So here's our look. The little berries are kind of floating around there. And then the beautiful green beads are just showing off their shine. So this seems about right to me. Let's see. So yeah, once I get the clasp on this, I think this will be just right. So I'm going to put on my other bead stopper. And then what I want to do is I want to get all of these beads kind of put in a place so they don't end up on the floor. Hopefully they won't be on the floor. Maybe you can see the marbling in these up in a white dish. So pretty. And then I've got 3 of the cushion rounds left, so you could easily do something with those. And then let me take my little ball end head pins, put those over here. And then I'm going to scoop up my demi rounds back into the package and save those for the next project. And now I'm just going to use a lobster claw here. So not going to do anything super fancy to close this one up, but you can most certainly use a toggle clasp. And if you're going to use a toggle, I would suggest kind of going with the same diameter or slightly smaller than your cushion rounds. So the cushion rounds, again, are 14 millimeter. So you could go with a 14 millimeter toggle or smaller. Not terribly smaller, but somewhere in that range. And I don't think I put it in the show. So Thaisa and Michelle are going to probably, they're going to want to have my head, but I'm going to use some French wire. So let me see if I've got gold available. And I do. Sorry, I'm turning away from the camera for a moment. Behind me is my French wire stash. This is what I like to use for my bracelet and necklace ends. So if you are a wire guard person, you could most certainly use a wire guard. You could simply just finish off your piece without anything. But I like a little French wire to add some substance to my bracelet ends and necklace ends. And I also like it for just making sure that the matching, kind of the ends match up with the metal that goes throughout. So in this particular case, the gold French wire, and this is made by Beadsmith. If you want to take a screenshot, and if the ladies put this in the show, thank you so much, you guys. This is available and what I like to match up to this color gold because it's a nice match. So I trim probably about, it's probably a little over half an inch, between half an inch and 3/4 of an inch pieces. And what I like to do is at one end of my bracelet, I'm just going to use one of these pieces for a loop to attach my lobster to. Now the trick is, and this is hard to see on camera, I need to probably trim this end a little bit. So let's see if I can get that in there right, and then I'll show you up close. So you're going to put this little coil of wire onto your beading wire. Now the beading wire is, it's fine on its own. This is just a little finishing touch that I like to use to add a little more substance to the wire. So you can see our wire our French wire starts about here. So you see a little bit more of a substantive look there. So I'm going to take my wire and I'm going to go back down through this crimp tube and through that first bead. So I'm going to do this and I'm going to pull the wire down until the French wire meets my crimp tube. And that makes a nice little loop at the end of my bracelet. And then I'm going to grab my crimping pliers and I'm going to come in and I'm making sure that my wire's not crossed, but I'm going to come in and put my crimp into that back channel of the tool and give it a squish. And it's very nicely put my wire in each one of those channels. And you don't want to crimp your wire. So you don't want to pull too, you don't want to crimp your French wire. So don't pull too hard when you're using this so that it goes into your crimp tube, because it will fit. I'm then going to turn my piece 90 degrees and put the piece into the second channel. And now I've got a nice crimped loop. What I want to do next is trim underneath that bead. So the thing about pulling through a bead, it really doesn't do much for you to strengthen anything, but what it does is it allows you to cut it off at a place where you get a nice finished end to your piece. So if you were to cut off your wire here, it might not sit nicely against that bead. So when you're cutting down below, where I've already got something that's smaller than the bead, it's just going to give it a nicer finish. So whether you're using French wire or not, that's how I would always put my my wire down. I would put it through that first bead if you can fit your wire through. So putting on my French wire on the other end, and now I've got my lobster. Now you can also do this same thing with a toggle. So if you were adding a toggle, you could still do the French wire as long as your loops will fit over the French wire. And in most cases, you won't have a problem. With this size French wire, you shouldn't really have an issue at all. So I'm going to take my beading wire, go down the crimp tube and go down that first bead. And then I'm going to carefully pull this wire and I'm going to make sure that my bead is pushed down. And what I want to do is make sure there's no slack in my bracelet, but I also don't want to crimp in a straight line. The other day I was reading in some kind of jewelry making forum, people asking for help around crimping. And I saw so many people suggesting to crimp in a straight line. I wanted to like scream, stop, no, don't do that. Because you don't want your beads to be crowded or too tight together. They need some breathing room. See, so they have a nice fluid movement. So here's my piece. The French wire is sitting at the top of that crimp tube. And then You're going to come in with your crimping pliers, and with those pliers, you're going to go into that back channel first, that little divot in the back of the tool first, and you're going to give that a squeeze. Then you're going to turn your piece 90 degrees and go into that first channel, and then you've got your nice crimp. Then I like to pull my wire away from that bead that I went through and use a flush cutter that will trim right up against that bead. And then you've got a beautiful little holly bracelet, you guys. I think this is just so pretty, just so festive. And we've used our greens and reds. And oh my goodness, this is just so pretty. So those beads are going to flop around, but I'm a fidgeter, so I love kind of playing with the beads here. It's just fun. Let's see. Santa Barbara Girl says, this might sound crazy, but a purple flowering vine entwined with a green vine and red berries. No, that doesn't sound weird at all or crazy at all. Thank you for the hearts, you guys. That doesn't sound crazy at all, Santa Barbara Girl. So let me see if I can actually close this piece. So we're just going to attach our lobster directly to that loop. Let me see if I can push that around a little bit. So we've got a nice consistent design here with our wire on one side, our wire on the other side. And then look at the beautiful bright reds, the bright greens, all of the texture, the different finishes on these beads. I assure you, when you get these red beads home, you are going to sit and stare at them for a while because they are such cool beads. It's really hard to show them because they're picking up the ring light, but they have that gold kind of marbling in them. So they're so cool. Thank you, Susanna. I love this. I love this bracelet. So I'm going to flip up. And I'm going to actually show you just a couple of other options for your beading pleasure. If you're looking for a deeper red, here's a cool bead. So this is an absolutely spectacular glass bead. This is Czech, and it's a 10 millimeter spiral faceted garnet red bead. And that is a fun shape and a little deeper, darker red. So you know, reds and greens are going to come in lots of options. So if you want some red, but you don't want a really bright red, that's another cool option. And these are a nice size bead. So if you want a little bigger bead for a design, that's a cool red to go with. And what if you want a cool lighter green? What about these? These are Raven's Journey, you guys. Look at this little bead. Now that is a cool like apple green. What are they calling? This is green opaline with Picasso. This is a cool green to go with red. So what if you did this? I like that vibe. I love the light green with a deep red. Super cool, really interesting. Each combination of beads is going to give you a little bit of a different look. So you pick your green, you pick your red. If you want to put them together, that's cool. I also want to show you these guys. So this is another one of the Bead Llama bead mixes. I flashed this earlier. This one is one that's 50% off. And this has some really cool red beads. So look at these. This is like a Givray bead. So where the color on the inside of the bead is not completely saturated. It's kind of just free flow in there. And then you've got these really cool green rounds. So those two look beautiful. And then there's also in this mix some incredible little clear glass rondelles. So you get a lot of beads in this little mix here, and this is a great combination of red and green. There's also red stars. So I know you guys love the stars. What about these little red stars? Ah, They are so cute. These have like an AB finish on them. So they're cyan red and they're 6mm. So you could do a really cool red star bracelet. Pull in some of the demi rounds with them. So you could do a little red and gold bracelet. So pretty. And what else? Oh, this red is pretty. So here's a couple of different, so this is interesting to show the comparison. This is a fire polished 3mm opaque red. And this one, you get a strand of 50. So look at this red. It's a very vibrant, bright red. But then you've got this one. This is a cyan red and also 50 pieces, but it's a more transparent. Look at the two different reds. So you could even take a couple of different reds and mix those together and you just have a really interesting vibe. Or you pick the one that you like the best and you go with that one. But you really can't go wrong with fire polish in any shade. And if you want to pick a red, there's a lot of reds to choose from. So there's those. And one other thing I wanted to show you, last but not least, I know I just go on and on here. How about a cool snowflake toggle? This is probably one of the coolest toggles I have seen. This is made by B&B Ben Bassett and it's sterling silver. It's a snowflake toggle. So there's the snowflake part, and this is the hole where you put the toggle bar through. And here is where you would attach your wire. So it's got a little loop on the back, and this is the back, which is also textured very beautifully, but it's not two-sided. It's just a different texture on the back. And here's your toggle bar, and it looks almost like a little ski pole. And it is fantastic. So see the end of that? It looks like a little ski pole. And so you attach your wire here and it's just adorable. I don't know if anybody has seen this, but this is a fun winter holiday toggle clasp and it is just really, really fun. So I would grab like 3 of these and I would make a really long necklace that you could wrap multiple times, and then I would position my toggle so that it's visible. So show the clasp is something I like to do. When you find a fun clasp, you want to show it off. So that is the last thing I wanted to show you today. Oh, and no, the last thing is these earrings. Here's my little peace bird earrings. So I did use that swirly dark red check glass bead, and I just attached my little peace bird at the bottom. We could all use a little piece now and, you know, throughout the year. And so, yeah, I thought I would wear these today, and I'm probably going to get a lot of wear out of my little peace birds. So you guys, please don't forget to check out of your shopping cart. If you've popped some things in there from the shopping bag, there's so many great things, so many great greens, so many great reds, so many things to put with them, some metals, some charms, some findings. There's so many options. So I hope that you will get some of these beautiful things home to you so you can do a little bit of red and green designing together. And this, I think, was a pretty fab Friday. Sorry, I'm messing with the camera. This was a pretty fab Friday, I think. So get those carts checked out and let's see. Let me give you the rundown. I think Julie Bean is doing a show tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken. And I'll be back Monday morning with Designing with Deb, 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern time. I've got a fun Prestige show planned for you. We're going to do lots of fun things with Prestige because Monday is the last day for that up to 50% off sale. And the rest of the design team, Julie and Becky, will be planning some fun things for you. I've seen some cool things. And because it's Thanksgiving, we also have a special Thanksgiving somethings set up for you. So thank you for being here. I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you around the bend, and please go post your fun designs in the Serious Art Beaters Facebook group. Bye, everybody. We'll see you soon.